Hey everybody, Dave Martinez here, your friendly neighborhood web designer, working on projects big and small with a smile. So, I've been working in Notion for a while, and I just want to give this really brief 5-minute overview of how I'm going to be managing my projects. We're already well into February for 2021. I noticed my projects were getting all over the place, so I wanted to consolidate everything into one database in terms of how big the projects were. A little background. I was working with something much more elaborate that I'm going to save for large enterprise projects that I was sharing with clients. That was a little overwhelming for them, so I decided to keep a lot of the data on my side and only expose them to these what I'd call database entries. Each database entry on Notion is basically a page. So I've set up this database here, and databases in Notion are basically tables with content in them. So if I click on new, I've created this. I've already done this before, so I pre-did some of this work. I have this template called Project Template Web Interactive. Click on that, and you can see some of the data that I try to collect here. I've got a status here. I'm considering working with them, estimating effort. We've started doing done on hold. Let's say we're estimating effort now. You can put in the context name, their title. Let's say they're an art director, and they also happen to be the writer of their company. What's their email address? This is their contact info, the name of their company here. Time zone, let's say they're on Eastern time, they're in New York. What is the offering of their company? What is the primary challenge we're looking at in this card or entry? What is the secondary challenge? What is their understanding level? How far did we get understanding them, talking to them for 1 or 2 times? Airplane overhead. Say we understand everything at a high level. Also, who referred us? Who was the cool person that let them know that we existed, so they reached out to us? Super important. What's their existing technology stack? Let's say they're on Shopify and they're using Facebook ads. What are we going to recommend to them? What is their launch date? And here's a project URL login if we're working in the same instance of whatever they already have. Link to Dropbox here. Credentials. I'm actually going to include this as a link. I decided for security reasons not to keep the credentials on this page if I ever share it with a client. So if they're sharing it with subordinates or people outside of the company, we don't accidentally give away any credentials to important people or not important people who could abuse those credentials is what I'm trying to say. So what I try to cover in initial calls or the first 2 calls are the summary, the context, who's the audience we're talking to, what are the goals of the communication piece, super important. What are the assumptions? So we're not taking on more than we need to, and we know who the other players are and what they're responsible for. Recommendations, considerations, we come up with cool ideas a lot of the times. Problem solution statements, so we're super clear what we're solving. Voice and tone, in case we come up with any writing. List of deliverables. And then we come down here, and Notion has this new view where you can break up the timeline in a lot of different ways. And this is my favorite view, which is close to an interactive Gantt chart so far, or something, close to what you think of in a project management tool, which is fantastic. And you can overlap items here, and these are the major stages when it's a web design project particularly. Required items, things we might need, you can add to this list. Who might be responsible for getting those to us? Or maybe we put our names here. We're developing new content for them. There's a budgeting calculator as well, which actually will do the sum. And this piece I took from another template that someone gave me. So you got the description of what you're doing, hours spent here, and you just multiply the hours by whatever your hourly rate is for that, and you come up with your spend. So let's say that's $500 for them for this. Oh, $1,000 there, $500 there. And then you get the sum here, so they can start to see, depending on what their needs are, how much it'll cost. Scratch area for open ideas. Meeting notes. If you want to record every meeting with them, you can store them in their own separate page. And I might pre-configure this as well to be a little more elaborate. But that's it for now. That's how I'm going to be working my projects going forward in 2021. This is going to be my center for my source of truth. And yeah, I'm super excited to use this because everything will be consolidated and I can share with my partners what I'm working on. That's it for now. David Martinez. My 5 minutes is up. I'm out.